Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salam ala Sayyidina Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa ala. So we pick up where we left off talking about sabr, about what's translated as patience, it's translated as fortitude. It never does justice to this whole concept of sabr, only the words that we use. And sabr is generally relates to, there's three types of sabr. Some mention four, but three types of sabr. He mentions three here. Which is the first type of sabr is what we normally think of as sabr, being patient in adversity. So someone passes away, you get sick, we have sabr, we patiently, and we patiently accept that and deal with that and accept it as being part of Allah's decree. That's the first type. The second type we may not think of as sabr, which is patiently remaining obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, performing the acts of worship and acts of obedience to Allah to the best of our ability. That's a type of sabr. Sabr ala ta'ah. So we Ramadan is the month of sabr. So we perform our fast. We complete our fast in the best of ways, avoiding anything which breaks it, but even detracts from it. Okay, that's a sabr. We then perform our salah and so on with sabr. And the third type, which is really the most difficult, which is in many ways, which is avoiding acts of disobedience, not allowing ourselves to follow our lower desires and then disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's sabr anil ma'asi. So we have this desire to do something which is displeasing to Allah. No, we hold ourselves back and we maintain sabr. And there's a huge reward in that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah loves those people that do that. We as human beings, we have those temptations. We have those tendencies, but we're asked just to rein them in and hold them back. And be patient for a short time until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we have everlasting and huge rewards for that. And that's part of our iman, is to know that life is short and it's just being patient for a short time, and then it'll all be worth it in the end. So that is sabr. Then he mentions after that وَالثِّقَةُ بِالرِّزْقِ. Be trust that Allah will provide for us. Okay, it doesn't mean we don't. It doesn't mean we just sit and wait for it to come. We take the means to earn our living, and that's part of our servanthood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we trust, confident that Allah will provide for us, and we don't become overly anxious or stressed about what's coming, because it's going to come to us anyway. It's already been decreed what will come to us. We just ask to take the means and remain obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ثقة بالرزق من الله وبغض الدنيا ودعوة النفس والشيطان ومحبة الله. Look, these are subhanallah. Everything is here in this book, subhanallah. بغض الدنيا, rejecting the dunya, rejecting not having worldly, severing our worldly attachments, severing that attachment of our heart to this world, which is very difficult. We're all attached to these worldly things to some degree, but realizing that it's an enemy, it's something which stands in the way of our progress to Allah, to our progress in the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the enemies he mentions here. And dunya wa nafs wa shaitan. These are the three main enemies of on our spiritual progress. The dunya, love of dunya, as we said, is love of dunya is ra'su kulli khati'ah. It's the source of all evil. It's the source of all problems. It's the source of these sicknesses of the heart that we talked about. So we try and sever our and at least decrease our love of the dunya. Remind ourselves of its true nature. Remind of its fleeting. Every day someone passes away. Someone is consumed by this dunya. Reminding ourselves of that. We must not be overly attached to it. Dunya and nafs was shaitan. The nafs, the lower self, which commands the evil, which is really our greatest enemy, because the dunya and the shaitan would not find inroads if the nafs wasn't allowing that to happen. Okay, the nafs just wants gratification. It wants It wants its ease, and it wants its comforts, and it wants its pleasures. And the hard sabr is required to deny that. And it gives inroads into for shaitan to come in and to take us, send us astray. So these are all, everything's interconnected. So we try and replace that love of dunya with love of Allah and His Messenger. The nature of the heart is, if it's full with love of Allah, love of the din, love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then there will be less. If it's full, there won't be space for the dunya. And that's what we see with the people of Allah. They're just absolutely absorbed with the love of Allah and love of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those that are beloved to him, and there won't be any space for other things. But when there's a void or a gap, then it fills up. We become attached to certain things. We become busy with certain things, and very quickly that space is filled with love of dunya. And that's our struggle, and that's our jihad, and that's our effort. So love of Allah, love of His Messenger, and love of the people who the Prophet ﷺ loved. Who did the Prophet ﷺ love? He loved his companions, he loved his family, he loved his ummah. He loved the pious and salihin, the tabi'een. He loved all those people. So it's very important. We also develop our love for the close family of the Prophet ﷺ, for those who the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ, for the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, especially the elite of the companions. We should know them. We should love them. That's an ongoing project. Read about Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, read about Sayyidina Uthman, read about Abu Dharr, and increase in love for them, and fill your heart with the love for them. And that is all. It's a chain of love. If you love them, you love the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you love the Rasul, you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let's be busy with that. That is a cure, and that's a remedy in and of itself. Love of the Salihin as well, the pious. We love the pious wherever they are, in whatever place, whatever time. Those who are alive, those who passed away. And one of the negative things that's crept into this ummah is kind of, we don't go to an excess about loving Rasulullah or loving the Salihin. It's not from that couldn't be further from the truth. We love them, and our whole deen is based upon love for them and connection to them. Sirat, we would every time in the Fatiha we say Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim Siratal Ladina An'amta Alayhim. We want to be on the path of those you blessed, the pious, min al-nabiyyin wa siddiqeen wa shuhada wa salihin, the prophets and the siddiqeen and the shuhada and the salihin, the people that Allah loves. We should also love them and attach them. We know them, who they are. We know the great shuyukh and the great ulama and the great salihin, and we love them, and that's part of our deen. We visit them if alive and dead, and we connect ourselves to them. May Allah be pleased with them all. وَرِضَاءً لِلَّهِ. Again, this is one of the kind of end points of رِضَاءً لِلَّهِ, to be content with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا. I'm content with Allah as a Lord, with Islam as a deen, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a messenger. That whatever Allah has decreed, whether it be of His commands that we try and follow, that we talked about, or whether it is part of His decree of things that happen to us, of sickness and hardship, for good, for evil, we're content with that. And that's the essence of our iman and our faith, the rida, that we're people of rida. And the one who's content, Allah will be content with them. That's really it's a high level. It's difficult, but these are the things that we should be aiming for. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَيْهِ, being trusting in Him and relying upon Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, a high station. Allah loves the mutawakkilin. Allah loves those who put their trust in Him, because it's an expression of our faith and our belief in the Tawheed. Everything is His part, is from Him, and He decrees everything. So trust in Him and have faith in Him and have belief in Him, and you'll never be disappointed. Another, he said, there's other things I haven't mentioned of states of the heart which are munjiyat. Okay, the first category we mentioned are called muhlikat, the destructive 12 qualities of envy and anger and envy and pride and so on. These are munjiyat. These are saving graces that someone has tawakkul and muhabba and rida. These are the things which will save you and that will lead you to everlasting felicity. And these are, Imam al-Ghazali makes that distinction in the third quarter of his great Ihya al-Din. He lists and talks in detail about the muhlikat, the destructive qualities, and then he finishes his book, the fourth quarter, talking about the munjiyat, beginning with tawbah, of repentance, and then going through fear and hope and so on, till he gets to love and contentment and things we just talked about. So that's our journey. And that's all we should end up from this. All we're gonna leave this life with is those things. Is coming to Allah with a sound heart, full of love, full of contentment, relying on Him, trusting in Him, fearing only Him, hoping only in Him. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day. So Allah make us be people of that. Then he goes on to mention the different limbs, and this is Imam Ghazali again, him dividing, saying that there's 7 limbs, and each of them must be protected and guarded against. So we have to guard the stomach. He lists them all one by one, beginning with the stomach, and he goes on to talk about the other ones: the tongue, the eye, the ear, the hand, the feet, and the private parts, and then the whole body. So we will go through them in the next session, inshallah. But it's this concept of guarding, guarding your heart first and foremost, and then guarding your limbs. That everything we do has an impact. The actions that we do with our limbs, the things we hear, the things we see, all of that has an impact upon the heart. So we have to guard those limbs from disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that will in turn protect and maintain our faith and our practice as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all kinds of harm, all kinds of disobedience, and make us people of perfect following of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.